am excited to be here. It is another week in our whole marketing month that we're talking about. And so today, my friends, we are going to be talking about 5 tips how to make blogging my weddings easy and effective. So tip 1 is why? Why do I want to make blogging easy and effective? Well, if you're anything like me and you hate writing blogs like I do, hate, here's why you should be writing blogs. Number 1, well, that's tip number 1. Within tip number 1, the first point is consistently posting on your blog will boost your SEO like nothing you've ever seen. So it's kind of a no-brainer and a must do. If you haven't been doing it, start doing it because it is the biggest change you can make in your business to bring more brides in. The second point is that it's 100% free marketing. Nowadays, with having to pay for ads or paying for Facebook ads or Instagram ads or one of those types of things, it can get really expensive. And if you're not really good at it, there's a lot of waste of money. This is something that is 100% free and super duper effective. There's no reason unless you're boosting some information or doing something special that you have to do ads in order to consistently bring in brides. Ads are great. I'll go into ads another day, but for today, let's focus on blogs. Within that section on why you should do it, your clients will love to be featured. Brides spend thousands and thousands of dollars planning with the time, energy, and effort. It's like a second job. And they spend all of this energy, effort, and money on this big day. Of course they want to be featured. Very rarely does one of my brides say that they don't want anything online. So sharing it with family and friends and people that they love will end up getting referrals coming back to you. Then also another thing is if you have a blog, but you don't blog consistently or you don't blog at all in some cases, an inactive blog can actually make it look to a potential client that you're either out of business or you don't have work and could lead them to believe that you don't know what you're doing. When in reality, you may be so busy, you have no time to do a blog post because you're shooting a bunch of weddings. So, and then the other thing is that an inconsistent blog or a blog that doesn't have like a year that goes by, your SEO is plummeting and Google is not going to be serving your information up. So that's the why. So hopefully I've sold you on the reason why you should do it. Okay, so right now, many of you might be thinking, and I've got a shadow. I'm so sorry, photographer in me, I should have known. Right now you're thinking, or at least I used to think this when I listened to people talking about blogging, I know I should blog, but, and there's a bunch of things that people say. Things like, I'm terrible at writing, I'm a creative, I'm not good at writing, no one reads my blog anyway, or one more thing to add to all the many things that I have to get done in a weekday, month, whatever. And it's the last thing I want to do because it's my least favorite thing to do. Well, hopefully if you stay tuned, I should hopefully overcome those things that you're thinking right now. How I help my wedding photography clients is I'm all about creating systems to make this crazy wedding business easier and more effective. So let's go to tip 2. Tip number 2 is pre-wedding questionnaire. If you do not have a pre-wedding questionnaire, you should absolutely do it. And what a pre-wedding questionnaire is, after my bride books, I send a questionnaire. And usually I have 2 questionnaires if I'm being honest. One is an after booking questionnaire, and it talks to them about, asks a bunch of questions of them, how they met, how they got engaged, all that good stuff, plus information about them, so that when I meet with them to do their engagement session, I know a little bit more about them. And I make it a game. I send one to the bride and one to the groom, and I tell them to do it without looking. And then when I write the blog post for my engagement sessions, I include what she said or what he said. And then when they read the blog, they get really excited. I've had so many brides and grooms come back to me and say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that my future husband thought this or said this about me. So that's one way. And then I send a wedding timeline questionnaire. I usually send it, a lot of photographers tend to send it like 2 weeks before the wedding. I like to send mine about 4 months before, not 2 weeks, 2 months before the wedding. I like to send mine 4 months before the wedding, and this is obviously dependent upon how far out they book. If they book out a year and a half before their wedding, I do 4 months. If they book me like 6 months out, I'm not going to do it at 4 months. I might do it like at 3 months out. But I do it earlier than most, because those last 2 months of wedding planning is, I have found with my planning my own wedding and my daughter's wedding and helping with my son's wedding, that's a crazy time. And so I send it out early. They will fill it out with the information that they know, and then they keep going back to my login. They have their own portal on with my client management system, which is Pixify, and I love them, FYI. And they log in and they fill it out as they get information and as they book their wedding vendors. And it's a way that I get alerted every time they enter something in there, and it gives me really good information during wedding planning. And if I see something like a vendor I've worked with before, I'll shoot off a little email to them and say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love working with so-and-so, and I can't wait to work with her on the wedding. You hired a great person. Little things like that leading up to the wedding really builds that know, like, and trust factor, so that there's a really good trust on the wedding day. All right, so that with regard to the wedding questionnaire, one way that I do why I do a wedding questionnaire with my clients is it enables me to easily do my 72-hour turnaround. So, and it's usually 48 hours to 72 hours. I will upload their blog post with a number of images within 48 to 72 hours of shooting the wedding. Now, I know there's a lot of people rolling their eyes right now and saying, there is no flipping way I can do that. Well, I have a whole process for doing that, and I'll go over that on another day, but it really gets clients excited. And what's even more important is when they see the blog post, they're looking for the blog post. I don't send the gallery, that blog image gallery, to them. I post it on the blog, and then they see it, and you should see they share it with all their friends and family, and it gets so much search engine optimization. Not to mention, this is that period of when they're still excited by the wedding, and when they'll talk about you the most and refer you the most. This is like a golden hour in terms of wedding referrals. I have had brides book because of my blog post about their friend's wedding. It's insane. So, okay, tip number 3 is to include 4 basic things in each post. So the wedding questionnaire is what gives me my information that I create a blog post with. So what are these 4 things that I put in every single blog post? Now, I put different things, but I always, or usually always, put these 4 things in every blog post at a minimum. The first thing is, what is the name of the venue? Where is it located? Not just the city name, but maybe the area. Like I live in San Jose, California. That's the South Bay or the Bay Area. So I'll put that verbiage in there, and I'll put the couple's first names. All of that information, you want to make sure that's in the first paragraph, because that is what will spike your search engine optimization and get you found with the Google algorithm faster and move your information up in the search results that they send to people who are searching those key areas. The next thing I do is how the couple met. Then I do how the groom proposed, and then I will describe their first date. That is in every single blog post. Tip number 4 is I include 35 to 50 images. So actually, everyone should do about 35 to 50. After I create my blog post, type up my blog post, I actually take my favorite 50 to 75, and I have at one point done 100 images. It's a lot, I know. But I love it, and that's like my brides and grooms love it so much that it encourages me to continue to do that. It boosts my search engine optimization fully. It's part of my process so that I can photograph my weddings, deliver the sneak peek. I do one image the day after the wedding. I just did one today for my wedding yesterday, which is why I'm so tired. And then I do the blog post, and I enjoy all of the traffic to my website and all my social media accounts, because the bride and groom are sharing it with all their friends and family because they're still on that high of the wedding. I get the work done, and my clients and their friends and family are blown away because it rarely happens. Every single bride and groom that I've delivered a blog for have said that none of their friends, photographers for their weddings, have ever delivered photographs so quickly. And a lot of wedding photographers say that is like insane. But for me, it mentally lets me give the most to my bride and groom, but it's only 35 to 75 images for me. And yet, I then get to take my time over a week or so to create, finish editing and create their gallery and send their gallery to them. Even though I still under-deliver according to my contract, and my contract I think my contract says up to 6 weeks just for emergencies, but delivering a blog post in 72 hours and then delivering the full gallery within 2 weeks-ish has done wonders for my referrals. Let's just put that out there. And then make sure of those images that you're doing, that you name them and size them. This is the one area I find most of my wedding photography clients, the people that I coach, this is the area that they have sort of forgotten. And it's the one area that when they make this change, they notice a spike in their search engine optimization, or a spike in finding themselves on a search page higher and higher. And that is to name the images something that is searchable. I wouldn't say most people, a lot of wedding photographers in particular, don't know that the name of the images is highly searchable. And when the name of your images and your blog document and the keywords in your blog and the title of your document all have similar things, Google sort of labels it as trustworthy. I'm not saying that right, and it's a whole bunch of technical jargon with regards to the algorithm, but it boosts their trust of you that what you're putting out in terms of a post is trustworthy, that it's about that thing that you have keyworded all over the place. So, and then of course, resizing images, you're a photographer, you guys are photographers, you know that it's really important that the images are not super, super huge because your website will slow down, and a slow loading website can hurt your search engine optimization just as bad as having an inconsistent blog or a non-existent blog. So I personally use BlogStomp, and I love it. There are plenty of other software out there that you can use and look at, but it resizes them and names them incredibly fast. So I take all of the images I love, I dump them into BlogStomp, in the settings, I put in what my name is going to be, and then it labels it that name 1, that name 2, that name 3, that name 4 in a web-sized image. Things to think about. Well, image names, as we already discussed, are highly searchable. And I think we already talked about that. Everything together on your blog post, when it all is saying kind of not exactly the same thing, but a similar thing, it comes across as trustworthy. So let's see. So an example that I do on, let's say on my wedding image, I'll say Catholic Wedding, San Jose, California, at XYZ, which is the venue, by Jen Vasquez Photography 1. And yes, that's a really long name, but I want the city and the venue and maybe the style or the colors or main color of the wedding are things that are searchable in like Pinterest. If you're going on Pinterest and you're searching for a particular image, you're going to be really detailed. That's what you want the naming of your image to be. Tip number 5, our last tip, is to include branding words. So we talked about your ideal client in previous videos, and it's important to have, 3 branding words that describe your ideal bride. For me, it's adventurous, playful, and fun party brides. Those are my sort of branding words. So you would use these words somewhere in each blog post, and in an unconscious pattern, it will develop for your brides about your brand. So when they're searching for things that say, someone's saying adventurous wedding photography or fun wedding photography or playful wedding photography, chances are that describes them or the type of wedding they want. And over time, my branding words will push me up in that search engine for that bride. Let's see if I forgot anything else. I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, so if you found this helpful, I would love it if this is on YouTube that you would like and subscribe so you're notified when my next post comes out. But I have an upcoming course for wedding photographers specifically. It's helping wedding photographers identify their ideal brides, book them with simple but effective system of marketing. So you can sign up. The wait list is open right now. And then once the class goes live, it will email everybody that is interested in hearing more about this course. It's not signing up for the course. It's just to get information. That's at womenwhoexecute.com/links. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.